Hi there and welcome to Transcona Trailer Sales. Today we'll be walking you through your 2004 Jayco Greyhawk. We are just going to start off at the back of the unit. If you notice up top, that is where your observation camera is in the back. We'll go over a little more about that later inside. If you flip this down, this is where you get your house battery. You also have a couple different fuses here. Not much you'll need to worry about unless you run into issues. You got your 7-pin plug-in as well as that 2-inch receiver. Just keeping in mind the weight rating behind that. This back compartment here, if you twist that open, this opens this up. This is going to be the tool for all your stabilizer jacks, which is just at the back here. It is just a 3/4 inch drive nut. The way those stabilizer jacks work is you just run those feet down to the ground. Once the feet contact the ground, just giving another 1/8 quarter turn just to snug it up. It's going to take any bounce or sway you see we have in the unit right now. I do try and recommend to use the manual tool all the time, but today's day and age we do have impacts. Just keep it in mind if you're using a drill or an impact, whenever you run that foot down to the ground, when you're torquing it, you do run the risk of bending it with the impact, so just be mindful of that. You do have a little light inside this compartment on this side, and then you do have your starter kit where it comes with that sewer hose, that 15-foot water hose, and some other miscellaneous goodies, as well as a 15-amp park adapter, which I will go over in just a second when we get over there. Come into this first compartment. It's labeled right here. This is your main sewer and power hookup and everything. Flip that guy open. Come up down here. On your right, you're going to have all your low point drains, as well as your fresh tank drain, which is the far left one, is going to be for the fresh tank. And then you got two hot lines and a cold line. You got all these valves here, and you are going to notice they are labeled. So that's just how you're going to follow to use them. It's just by putting the valves in the selected. So we're currently hooked up for city water. So you'll notice we got all these valves pointed the right way. With these two pointing down, you're going to be on city water. If you were to want it to go to normal, you'd have to leave this one, turn this one to vertical, turn this one to vertical, and leave this one down, and so on and so forth when it comes to antifreezing and sanitizing your lines and stuff. Also inside here is where you find your 30-amp power cord. If you follow that cord back, you do come to your standard 30-amp plug-in, which most campsites should have, but let's say you have the unit at home and you just want to plug in. Or if your campsite only has 15-amp service, we do include a 15-amp park adapter. Just keeping in mind you're going down to 15 amps of power. It's really just to run your 12-volt stuff in your fridge. It's not to run your air conditioner because you will trip your breaker. Next to all that is going to be your two connections here. So you got your fresh water inlet. So that is for your fresh water. Put a garden hose in there. How you have these valves is going to determine where it goes, whether you're running off just city water. So if you're at a site with service, that's what you'd like to have that under. So it pressurizes all the lines. No need to run the water pump. City tank fill, that's how you would fill your fresh tank. So if you put a garden hose in there and turned it on with the valves in the corresponding spots, that would fill your fresh tank. Normal operation is how you would run off that fresh tank with the water pump. You got your black tank flush right here. Very important whenever you're using it. You have your black tank valve open, your sewer connected. Otherwise, you do run the risk of bursting your tank, so just be mindful of that. Outside shower, hose just comes up and hooks in over here. Water pump switch, which you have another one inside, and that's the one I'm going to advise you to use. You also have a little light inside here, and that's the switch for it right there. A little paper towel holder in case you wanted to keep some paper towels in here. And then of course you get to your sewer dump valves. So you got your black way back here in this far left corner, and that's going to be for your dirtiest water. So you're always going to want to empty this one first. It's coming out of your toilets, and then you do have the gray valve, which is over here, and that's going to be typically a little cleaner water filled from your sinks and your showers. All of that does come, and it is hard plumbed out back here, which we do include this little hose end to clip inside here, so you can hook a sewer hose up to it. There's a few different ones in here, sorry. Is it this one? One of these is going to clip inside here to allow you to just hook up to that dump. You also have a couple 120 plugs back there, so just be mindful of that. Gas fill for your vehicle. The generator also runs off this tank. So one thing I'll mention with that, it's always going to be a smart idea if you're going to be running that generator, especially leaving it for a while and you're only running 87 octane, which most of us do inside our vehicles. Just throw some fuel stabilizer in there. It's just to help try and keep some of the moisture away from the carburetor and the generator. Always following the instructions on the fuel stabilizer for how much to put in. This right here is just going to be a service port for your generator. So if you turn those two tabs, will allow you to pull that cover up a little bit, loosen it off, it'll pop off out of place. You get another start-stop switch. I'm not going to show you how to start it out here. We are going to do that inside. Get access to your air filter as well as the dipstick for the oil. And that is also where you would fill the oil if you were to do an oil change. The drain is underneath. Just locking that back into place. That's all that for in there. These next two compartments are just storage. Not much you need to show you in there. The front, you got your standard Ford chassis, like a standard big vehicle, I guess. Then around the passenger side again, most of these are just storage. With the section of this one, where you do have your propane, so this is where you're going to be filling it. Just take this yellow cap off. The person that is propane certified is going to come with their gun and fill it up. This is going to be your supply to your unit, so this is where what you're going to worry about. This is going to be the on-off valve, so clockwise all the way closes off the flow of propane to the unit. You're not going to have anything flowing to it. Counterclockwise, which is lefty-loosey, opens up the flow of propane. Whenever you are opening up the flow of propane, turning the knob slowly opens up the flow. Fridge service port, not much you need to worry about here. Then you got your furnace exhaust. So whenever the furnace is running, it's going to be blowing out hot air, so be mindful of that. Side here, again, just some more storage. You do have a little outside entertainment center. The unit should come equipped with a little silver 751 key. Just sticking it in there like so and unlocking it. You got a couple 120 plugins, and then you just got a little stereo. Power button to turn it on. Quite standard. And then you got your little service port for your water heater. Taking that knob, twisting and pulling it whenever you first get to your campsite. You're just going to want to give this pressure relief valve a pull. There should be a shot of water coming out of there, letting you know that the tank's full and safe to fire up. We don't have any water coming out of there, so there wouldn't be safe to fire up at this moment because we do have this currently still winterized. Then you got an inch drain bolt right down there. That'd be to drain the tank. Always making sure that you do relieve the pressure before you try taking that off. Otherwise, there will be a bit of an explosion. More storage inside this compartment here. You do have a quick connect gas line, propane line right here. We do sell the quick connect lines here at the shop, so if you'd like to get set up with that, you can contact our parts department and we can get you all set up. And it just works like any standard propane line. Pull the collar back, thread that in. With it, the valve closed, the flow of propane is closed. If you were to open it, the flow of propane becomes opened. And then located in this back storage compartment, opening it up, got this white rod, pull it on out. It's just to run your awning. So there's this little strap here. First, you do just have to unlock it from its travel locks, making sure they're all unhooked. And then you take this little thing here. Oh, you don't even need this. You just push up with this to unlock it. This little plastic piece here, you're gonna see it does push that up, so you won't even need this. It becomes unlocked. Making sure you double check that the back arm is also unlocked from its base. Hook your rod in here. Give it a pull, and it starts rolling up. Now, you're gonna know it's fully extended when you see the back of the metal tube and a little flap hang down, just due to space. That's about all I'm gonna go today. Now you can come to your front or rear arm, make sure that this is loose, and always making sure that it's loose when you put it back in as well. Folding this up right to the top, locking that into place. Then you can take your arm to adjust your height of your awning that you'd like. Locking it into place. I just put it back to where we are because we are just going to bring it back in. Making sure that you slide this back down, which I'm probably going to need a little step stool to get to. Yeah, so you want to unlock this guy here, slide this back down, of course with that knob being loose like I told you earlier, and you would be ready to fold it back up whenever you are folding it up. I will just warn you, it might be a two-person job. Just making sure you keep a firm grip on this. Then that latch I told you to unlock, you're going to throw it back down for locked. And it's going to want to start retracting, but as soon as you slide this back down, it will start retracting. So if you're not holding on to this black rope, it's going to come in. Let it go up. Put your rod back into the strap. Always trying to make sure the strap goes in straight and not all curled because it's stuck in the fabric. And that locks the side of the trailer. And then at that point, you can just lock your both front and rear arms. And it's all done. And back onto the side of the trailer. Now to get inside, you do have electric stairs, so when you go to open that door, just be prepared for those to come out at you. Taking a step on inside, first thing you notice that fire extinguisher off on the left, just like home. Flip the cap off, take it off, pull the pin and shoot. Battery disconnect on the wall with the battery disconnect switch on. The batteries are connected to the unit. If you flicked it to the off position, they would become off. You got your electric step on off switch, so if you don't want them coming in and out every time you open the door, you can just turn them in the off position with them out and they'll stay out full time. Or if you're traveling, bring them in and turn it off and they'll stay in. Interior light switch turns on all the interior lights. Exterior light switch turns on nice porch light as well as any other exterior lights we have around the unit. Then once you're inside, opening up this little door here, this is where you get your generator start stop switch. So if you push and hold the stop button, it illuminates itself. Now that's the fuel pump priming fuel to the carburetor. Let go of that, hold it for about 5 to 10 seconds, and then hit that start button. The generator does fire right on up, and you do have a little hour meter to tell you how long you've been running for your next service. Off switch to turn it off. Got your monitor panel system down here below. So you got your tanks with all the corresponding levels, as well as your battery. Water pump switch, turning that on, does draw from your fresh tank. Water heater switch, so you can either fire it on gas or electric. Gas does heat the water quicker. Electric's going to be more efficient. If you do fire it up on gas, turning that switch on turns on the water heater. The water heater is going to try lighting itself 3 times. If on the 3rd try it doesn't light, this little DSI fault light's going to come on. And at that point, just turn the switch off, wait about 30 seconds, and then try turning it back on. It'll try relighting itself. Just being that sometimes there is air that gets trapped inside these propane lines, and it has to be purged out, so just be patient with it. Then if you fire it up on electric, it's just as simple as turning on that switch, and that water probe is going to start lighting. Just always making sure the tank's full before you do that, because you can burn out the probe. For your slide out, you do have to have the parking brake on and the key in the accessory position for the unit. Then it will allow you to draw the slides out. Just push and hold that out button. The slide's going to start making its way out. And once fully extended, it'll just cut out. Whenever you do run that slide out, always making sure you know what's up your side of the slide, inside and out, before you run it. That way you don't damage anything. Now you can come up to the front of the unit and turn that key back off. Now in this area here, you got your entertainment area. So you got your TV. You also do have VH system and a DVD player, which is hooked up. You just have to plug it in. The plugs for that are all just back there, hooked up to that power bar. You got your dinette table area, which can be folded out into a bed for guests. You're just having to come underneath, pull these legs from underneath the table. Then you can set the tabletop in the set positions here. And you could take your back cushions, fill in the center to make yourself another bed. All the blinds in the unit do work the same way. They just kind of sit where you leave them. The couch here also does fold out into bed. You're just having to grab the foot of the couch and pull, and it'll fold out. And then to get it back in, just doing the opposite while also trying to pull at the top, and it just allows it to fold back into place. In your kitchen area, sink with hot and cold water. Got your microwave, pretty much just like home. This is also a convection oven, and it also has your fan, your vent hood, and a light on it. I do recommend running the vent hood whenever you're running your stove. As your stove does run off propane, it's going to put off some fumes. With all that being said, the furnace in this unit also runs off propane. We got an LP detector right here near the ground. Propane's heavier than air. If this guy ever starts going off, don't panic. Just turn off the main supply propane at the front of the unit. Open up some windows, turn on some vents to ventilate it out. To get the stove to light, just folding this metal cover back, you're going to notice it does lock into place. So when you go to fold it back down, you do have to actually lift it up a little bit and then fold it down so it folds down nicely. And to get it to light, turning it over to that light option and hitting the sparker, and it does fire right on up. Now, I had the propane system running earlier. That's why it fired up so quickly. Sometimes, as I explained for the water heater, air gets stuck in the lines, so it does have to be purged out, so it can take a few minutes, especially when it comes time to lighting the stove. Lighting the stove is kind of the same thing, except you do need a lighter, as the sparker does not go underneath there. You fold this guy down, you turn the knob over to the pilot option, push and hold it in, allowing it to purge for a few seconds, then run your lighter right underneath it. You're going to get that pilot lit. Now, pushing it in for another few seconds and letting off. Once the pilot's able to hold its own, it might go out the first time, so you might need to retry it. But once it holds its own, you can turn it up to your desired temperature, and it does fire right on up. And then just all the way back off to get that to go off. Storage all around. Come to you're gonna notice this here. I'm not sure why it's looks like a thermostat, but it does run this fan for some reason. So you have to turn this to the heat option, I think. Maybe not. You're gonna do. Yeah, you're gonna have to open it up all the way. And you have to, sorry, that's why it wasn't working, is because it was locked into place. You have to pull it down to unlock it, which will allow you to open it up. Then you can just turn it on. With that there, I think this might have something to do with it, maybe not. I'm gonna have to look into why that's not working after the video. You're gonna notice when it is open though, you do open up straight into the atmosphere. You can get a max air cover so that you can leave this open while you're traveling or if it's raining. It's a great little add-on to any camper. You can contact your parts department to get through with that. Whenever you do lock it down, you're locking this knob back into place so it can't open on its own. Lots of storage all around, and then you get to your fridge. You got little safety latches, so you do have to open it and close it with those. Power button, far right, it turns it on. Right here you got this little LCD screen. You got a mode button, so it's currently on auto, and because it's on auto and we're plugged in, it's gonna first search for AC power. So it's gonna probably run off AC power. Once AC power is taken away, it'll automatically switch over to gas. If you want it to solely run on gas, you just have to press that mode button. Now you're gonna see we're on AC, so it's only gonna run on AC. One more time, and you get over to gas, LP gas. Now at this point, the fridge will only run on gas. Mode button again will just take you back into auto, and you'll see AC. Temperature set. Hitting that button goes all the way to 9, and 1's being the warmest setting, 9's being the coldest setting. So leave it wherever you want it. Push and hold the power button to turn it off. It's going to be the fresh air intake for your furnace. Storage all around. Inside here, there is going to be some miscellaneous goodies. Before I go over that, there's just a light switch here for a few different lights all around. You see in there, you got, I'll let the camera guy get in. Oh, funny story. I found the switch for the power vent. So with that switch, it will automatically open itself, depending on what setting you have it set to. Automatically opens. And I'm gonna say once it automatically is fully open, you do probably have to close it manually, because I did just turn off the switch and nothing happened. But you see what I mean. So now, once we're in here, open this guy up. It's gonna be an extra filter. It's a fuel filter for your generator. It's brand new. Then just some other miscellaneous goods, as well as the box for your brake controller. This here, we are gonna store in this cabinet. I just left it out because I don't want to forget it. This is how you're gonna run your furnace, your air conditioner, everything is all off this remote. On button to turn it on, it's going to go to your last known setting. So you see it's on cool. Up and down buttons to change your set desired temperature. You got your fan speed button. So with it on auto, it's an on-demand system. So once it senses the unit's at its temperature, it'll turn the fan off, and it'll also use the fan that it thinks is best suited to get the temperature down or up. Or you can run it full time on either high or low, but that will run full time regardless of what temperature it is. You got a timer that you can set to run things. And then hitting that button will take you between all your different modes. So you got dry, which is essentially just a dehumidifying mode. The air conditioner is going to try and take as much moisture out of the air as possible. Then you get to fan. So that's just moving air around with the air conditioner, no heating or cooling involved. Whenever you're running the air conditioner, you're running the air conditioner through all the vents, so you can close them or open them as you desire, just by turning them like so, depending on where you want more air. One more time, we'll get you into heat. Now, that is reversing the effects of the air conditioner. So a standard air conditioner blows in cold air and blows out hot air. Whenever you turn it into the heat mode, it does reverse the effect. So it's going to blow in the hot air and blow out the cold air. The heat pump is equipped on this one, so that is going to work. One more time with that mode button gets you into the furnace. Now that fires up the actual furnace of the unit that runs off propane. The intake for that is right there, and it does move all its air through the floor ducting we have throughout the unit. And that's how you use that. Obviously on-off button to turn it on or off, depending on which setting you're in. And for this remote to work, you do have to be relatively close to the air conditioner, so just be mindful of that. You got your main GFI plug right here on the wall. If you ever have an outlet that doesn't work, this would be the first place I'd look. You got test on the left, reset on the right. That red light's on, the system's tripped. Bypass valves for winterization for the water heater, because you don't want to run any antifreeze in here. And now taking a step into the bedroom, light switches on the wall, turns on the light in here. You do have an emergency exit. Pretty self-explanatory. You're just pulling those tabs. That will allow the window to pop right on out of place and you to hop out to safety. And then on the wall here, they got a little cool fold down TV holder if you'd like to put a little TV in here. There's an outlet, a coax plug in for it just down below. And then under the foot of the bed, there's some storage space for some blankets or whatever else you'd like to put under there. Last but not least, we'll just take a step into the bathroom. You got your shower, hot, cold water, and your toilet. Flusher is just on the back right here. Medicine cabinet with some storage, as well as some other goodies left behind the prior owner. That's going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.